Be mindful of open source software. Ask about it in diligence where the target is a company in the IT sector. Since OSS is widely used, do not be surprised if some OSS is discovered during the course of diligence. That in and of itself is not a cause for concern, especially when the target has a good handle on their use of OSS. It can actually be a key asset and a source of value. There are some benefits to using OSS if it's done correctly.
If restrictively licensed or viral open source software is used, you should ask the sellers why restrictive open source license terms are not a concern and assess if the explanation provided is satisfactory.
Even when OSS is used haphazardly, this should not always be a cause for concern. Some patience and additional time will need to be built into the diligence exercise to allow for an analysis of the licensing permissions of the software to be considered. You need to understand how OSS is used generally speaking. OSS developer tools not actually incorporated in software, OSS embedded in the software that's used only internally for employees, and OSS used in connection with the SaaS offerings might all be less of a concern. In some cases, linking OSS code might also not in the end be a concern. However, it all depends on specific circumstances.
Purchasers and investors do have some options they should be aware of to hedge against the possible risks of open source software. If it is a concern, you should seek warranties and indemnities to do with restrictive open source licensing in the deal documentation. The open source software used should also be set out clearly in the disclosure documentation.
You might also want to carry out or request specific software diligence, which examines the code base of the target software. This is carried out by specialist technical software consultants. They can compare the target's code against a bank of open source software to help identify where it is used and then carry out an analysis of the different license conditions involved. Also, unpatched OS code and vulnerabilities can be identified. The output of a code audit is a report, which then has to be considered from a technical and a legal perspective.
It might be that a potential target will not be willing to hand over source code until the purchase has taken place, so therefore it might not be possible to complete software diligence in advance of completion. So to account for this, the deal documentation can provide that a portion of the price will be held back until certain diligence checks are carried out and the outcome is satisfactory.
If use of OSS turns out to be a fundamental issue, seek price adjustments.